Ahmed al-Shaybani, the founder of the first political party, the Democratic Party, post-Gaddafi dictatorial era. Many Libyans, they see you as an impediment, since you were appointed as an ambassador to United Arab Emirates, not out of the Libyan people's choice, but when your superior, Dr. Mahmoud Jibril Wafali, was challenged on this, he said that the foreign minister of the United Arab Emirates requested you in name. So to challenge this kind of corruption that you mentioned, I think we should start at home. Furthermore, our cyber rebels on our virtual platforms have posed many questions to you. What was the linkage between you and Tomorrow's Libya company that gave you an exclusive mandate to do their human training resources with Mahmoud Jibril Wafali? You need to know that Wafala tribe is castigated now, and it's harder for a camel to pass to an eye of a needle than Wafala to reach high office.
Thank you. I think that we will answer that question first before going on to anyone else. They're pertinent questions, and Dr. Nayed is prepared to answer your question.
Let me drink first. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, Mr. Shaybani, I'm honored to meet you. I've read about your efforts and your party, and it's a great honor to meet you and to hear your voice. And I will be very happy to address your concerns, which are legitimate concerns. Let me begin with the appointment. Okay. I was in the demonstration in Fashloum on the 19th of February. Came out of Libya on the 20th. Went to Turkey, tried to get some help from Turkey, and then went to Abu Dhabi and asked to meet Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed. I had never met Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed before, but a mutual friend managed to get me an appointment, and I explained to him the situation in Benghazi and appealed to him to help us. And I am very happy that, I'm not saying that it was only my advice, I'm sure that other people also advised him and that he reflected on this, but very early on he did help, and the United Arab Emirates stance in the Council for Gulf States and in the Arab League was absolutely key to the success of the diplomatic effort, and we are grateful to the UAE for that. Okay? Now, I dare say that I began my involvement with the revolution by phoning Dr. Zahir Mughairbi and Dr. Najib Al-Hsadi in Benghazi before the council was formed, and as the professors of law and the lawyers were discussing what form of or structures we should have, I dare say that I did take part in that discussion over the phone through Dr. Zahir Mughairbi and Dr. Idris and various other people in Benghazi at the time. So my involvement with the National Transition Council was from its very inception and prior to the appointment of Dr. Mahmoud Jibril. Okay? I immensely respect Dr. Mahmoud Jibril. He is from the Wafala tribe. I'm from the Wafala tribe. He's from the Ziyadat sub-clan. I am from the Ziyadat sub-clan. But we meet together in the, I think, 9th grandfather. So to say that he's my cousin is true in Arabic, but not in English. The notion of cousin is quite okay. I very much respect him. When I first came out, I had a network of relationships with various academics and some governments because of about 20 years of work in interfaith. I used these contacts to the maximum. I emailed everybody that I could and built up a correspondence with various governments regarding Libya early on. So when Dr. Mahmoud Jibril was appointed in decree number 2 of the National Transitional Council, I phoned him and I told him that I had made certain correspondences with foreign governments, and that because he is now responsible for the foreign ministry, that I should give him these correspondences. And when I briefed him on what I did, he was appreciative, and he asked me to help him out because he had very little help at the time. I did over the build up a formidable, I would say, group of young Libyans who've done all the work. All I did was coordinate between them to some extent, but about 70 young Libyans, men and women, helped the executive team and Mahmoud Jibril through in various ways, ranging from solving the fuel issue in Benghazi early on, to issues with the TFM or the fund, the international fund, to sending secretarial support with missions of Dr. Isawi to Italy and other things that we did. Very mundane, small things. These were done by volunteers, including myself, and they did not cost the government anything whatsoever. So to say that Mahmoud Jibril appointed me, or that that it was favoritism, or that it was because I'm from his tribe, is really not quite fair. Now, to say that the foreign minister of the United Arab Emirates appointed me is also not fair, because, as you know, ambassadors are appointed by their own government. But as you know, it's also true that in diplomacy, the host country has to accept the nomination, and the process of acceptance can take some time. So when the council when the United Arab Emirates recognized the council as the legitimate government of Libya, it was vital that an ambassador be appointed very early on, because at the time the recognition we had from the UAE was the highest form of recognition. They actually very early on recognized the council as the legitimate government of Libya, and we needed that for international discussions. So it was vital that we have an ambassador very quickly. And what Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed did, and that's all he did, was he told Mahmoud Jibril and Sheikh Mustafa Abdul Jalil that if you do send us Aref, who's been arranging all the meetings thus far with the United Arab Emirates, okay, we would accept it. That's what he said. And I was nominated, duly nominated by the council. My name was discussed in the council. It was agreed to in the council with its full. There was a discussion. There were some objections. They were overcome, and I was appointed as the ambassador. So I am honored to have had that appointment, but I made it very clear from the beginning that it is a volunteer appointment, and that I would like to stop being the ambassador as soon as we have liberation. I've submitted my resignation 9 times thus far, and thus far they've been telling me to hold on until we send the replacement. I have not applied or taken a diplomatic passport. I have not changed my residence visa. It's still on my own company. I have not taken a single penny from the Libyan government, and I have not relocated to an ambassador's house. I'm still living in my own house, and I have told in no uncertain terms the government that I'm not interested in continuing this role. So I would like to assure you that none of what you think is regarding the appointment is as you think. Now, regarding the tomorrow's Libya and the training, I have no clue what you were talking about there. There is no such link. There has been a lot of stuff on Facebook saying that Mahmoud Jibril is my partner. He is not. My partner is a man from Misrata called Mun'im Hamad Bouhoud. He's been my partner for the last 14 years. He's my only partner ever. Okay, and I've never done any business transaction with Mahmoud Jibril or anybody else in the present or past government. I did not know any of the Gaddafi brothers except Muhammad Gaddafi, because he tried to take away a contract from me and we had a bit of a fight. Okay, and I never met Saiful Islam Gaddafi. Okay, so none of the stuff that's on the Facebook is fair. I believe that the team that I led was subjected to deliberate attacks by certain parties, and even on television, a particular preacher made accusations, and I only had to say respectful things about him when I was interviewed. So I believe that that should address your second thing. Now, regarding the Warfalla tribe, with all due respect to you, the Warfalla is a big and I would say great tribe. It is like any tribe in Libya, has some good people and some bad people. It has a good track record and a bad track record. Okay, we can have a long discussion on which tribes helped whom when, and we can go on for many hours. But I will not accept you insulting in any way the Warfalla tribe, just as I will not accept you insulting any Libyan tribe, be it Misrata or Zintan or anyone else. I believe that because of demography, unless you want to take away Libyan citizenship from the Warfalla tribe, which I don't think is feasible or anybody's right, you do have to live with them. And as a Warfalli, I am honored to live with you, no matter what you say about us or about me. And I believe that we must learn to respect each other. If you have grievances about particular Warfallis, then you should direct those grievances towards that person and use legal means to pursue them. And I will be the first to support you in such pursuit. And I very much respect your frankness and thank you for it. But I do also pray that you also hear me out and consider what I have just told you. Thank you.
Thank you.